in the moment, it just felt like, what? Like, is this fun for him? Is this like a test? This is the first time that I'm speaking about it. It's something that I'll never forget.
Let's dive into one of the most shocking celebrity mysteries of recent times. The swirling speculations, stunning accusations, and mind-bending conspiracy theories surrounding music mogul Sean Diddy Combs. Once celebrated as a hip-hop legend and business mastermind, he now finds himself entangled in a web of controversy and suspicion. But here's the real twist. What if the repeated denial of his bail isn't just about witness protection or public safety? What if beneath the surface, there was a secret escape plan that authorities managed to intercept just in time? Get to ready, because this story is filled with unexpected turns, shocking details, and revelations that will leave you speechless.
The flight was always going to be a tough argument for the government because obviously Combs voluntarily came to New York. He surrendered his passports through his lawyer. He could have fled after the March raids of his Miami and Los Angeles homes, but he didn't. He has access to 2 private jets. I think it was a tougher argument. I know the government made the argument, but clearly the best argument was the dangerousness and the witness tampering. They had much more evidence.
Now let's paint the picture. Sean Combs, a man who once ruled the red carpets in custom-tailored suits and hosted extravagant all-white parties, now finds himself confined to a federal detention center for months. Despite putting a staggering $50 million on the table for bail, the courts have shut him down at every turn. $50 million. Just think about that. For someone of his status, that's a massive statement, practically declaring, I have no reason to run. Yet time and time, again, the court refuses to budge. The question is, why?
Legitimate concern. No judge wants to wake up and read the headlines the next day, oh, they treated this guy special and they gave him bond, and now he's gone and he fled from justice. So that's what's in the back of most judges' minds. On the other hand, we deal with cases where clients have significant funds sometimes. And sometimes where there's money, you can craft a unique solution. Years ago, it was the ankle bracelet and the ankle monitor.
According to various reports, and let's be honest, the ever-churning rumor mill, there's far more to this story than what's on the surface. Diddy's legal team has repeatedly insisted that he poses no flight risk, offering everything from house arrest in a luxury Manhattan apartment to round-the-clock private security, but the courts aren't convinced. Officially, the refusals are based on concerns over his alleged influence, the possibility of witness intimidation, and even claims that he struggles to follow rules, inside or outside of custody. But behind the scenes, the whispers are growing louder. There's speculation about a secret escape plan involving some of Diddy's closest allies, and even members of his own family. Yes, you heard that right, his family.
That with all the money he has and all the resources he has, they couldn't craft some solution that lets him be under some form of house arrest. And again, it sounds like special treatment, but the truth of the matter is, to incarcerate somebody like him is expensive to all of us. We're taxpayers, and he's got to have unique situations. You can't put him in general population where, everyone wants a piece of him and everyone wants to be his friend and everyone. So
let's take a step back. After his arrest, Diddy's behavior behind bars reportedly set off multiple red flags. One major concern, allegations that he was using other inmates' phone codes to make calls. Authorities claim these weren't just harmless conversations, they were potential attempts to contact witnesses and possibly set something bigger in motion. And then there's the now infamous Contact Me ASAP messaging service, which officials allege he continued using even after assuring the court he wouldn't. On the surface, these might seem like minor infractions, but together, they painted a picture of someone unwilling to play by the rules. But was it simple defiance? Or was there a deeper, more calculated plan unfolding?
Well, Sierra, anything's possible, right? But now this judge has an even harder time, I think, because the past judge locked him up, didn't let him out, and he's still there available for trial. If the new judge lets him out on bond and something goes wrong, and this isn't the analysis that I'm proud to make, right? We shouldn't be saying, well, judges are worried about their own skin and how they look if something bad happens.
Now, this is where things take a dramatic turn. Sources close to the investigation claim that the FBI allegedly intercepted communications hinting at a covert plan to get Diddy out of custody. And who was involved? According to reports, it wasn't just his legal team. It supposedly included family members and longtime associates. The rumored scheme wasn't just a simple getaway. It allegedly involved multiple locations, a web of safe houses, and even international connections. And let's not forget, this is Sean Combs we're talking about. A man whose network of high-profile contacts could rival those of world leaders. If anyone had the means to orchestrate a bold escape, it would be someone with his level of influence and resources.
Everything. They're going to try to transfer him. They're going to try to get him out. You know, in a normal case where it's a high-profile person or a well-funded person, the prosecution and the judge is a little bit more concerned about a wrongful prosecution, because people that are mad that they're being arrested for a crime they didn't commit can turn around and file for malicious prosecution.
But how did authorities get wind of this alleged plot? According to insiders, it was a mix of surveillance, intercepted communications, and perhaps the biggest twist, a possible informant within Diddy's inner circle. Just imagine the tension. Someone with direct access to the details of a potential escape plan, turning around and leaking it to law enforcement. If true, this would explain why the courts have remained so adamant about denying bail. After all, if the FBI believed there was even a shred of credibility to these claims, releasing him, no matter how high the price, would be a risk they simply couldn't take.
Every jail is bad, and some jails are worse than others. And the problem, again, is if you move him, why is he getting special treatment? And maybe he's earned special treatment. Maybe what he's done, maybe he's given so much back to his fans and to the world and to charity that maybe there's a way that it plays out in the end. But again, to go into court and say this jail is bad, move him to another jail, is not your first argument. That's sort of the...
This alleged plan wasn't just about slipping out of a detention center. Far from it. Reports suggest it was a meticulously crafted operation, complete with private jets, decoy vehicles, and a covert network designed to move him to a location where extradition would be nearly impossible. Some sources even claim that key family members were responsible for handling logistics, while others were allegedly prepared to finance the entire escape. Whether fact or fiction, the sheer boldness of such a plan has left many stunned.
They can't move him to the general population. And would he be at risk? Sure, he'd be at risk. There's so many people that have nothing to lose, right? They're going to be in jail the rest of their life. They've got nothing to... They want their 15 minutes of fame. They were friends with Diddy, or they hurt Diddy, or they Diddy, or they did. I mean, there's so many, people in jail that this would be their moment. You can't put them there. Plus,
and let's not ignore the timing of all this. Around the same period these whispers began circulating, Diddy's legal team was aggressively pushing for his release under house arrest. Coincidence? Some aren't so sure. Critics have speculated that the house arrest request might have been a calculated move to make an escape more feasible. Think about it. A high-end Manhattan apartment outfitted with security measures that Diddy himself could influence. Could such an arrangement have been the perfect staging ground for a larger plan? It's a theory that's been gaining traction, and it certainly raises some serious questions.
But no one wants to be in prison. And you can imagine what happens when you take sort of 40 people, all of whom have been at least charged with crimes, and lock them in a single room for years on end and throw out the key, which is the most trivial things become all that people have left to care.
What makes this even more astonishing is the rumored involvement of Diddy's own family. Reports suggest that the FBI has started scrutinizing several of his relatives, digging into their financial records and communication logs. The mere possibility that his loved ones could be tied to such a high-stakes operation has sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry and beyond. If there's any truth to these allegations, the fallout wouldn't be limited to Diddy alone. His entire family could be facing serious legal consequences. Just imagine the ripple effects. The very people who have stood by him through everything could now find themselves caught in a legal storm that could change their lives forever.
What's Diddy like?
Obviously I've only seen one piece of him, which is, Diddy in prison. And he's been kind to people in the unit. He's been kind to me. It's a position no one wants to be in. Obviously he doesn't. I don't. As you said, it's kind of a soul-crushing place for the world in general.
But let's not overlook the FBI's role in all of this. If the rumors about an uncovered escape plan hold any truth, it would mark yet another high-profile victory for the agency. And let's be real, they're not exactly known for keeping their successes quiet. The mere idea that they may have shut down a celebrity's elaborate getaway attempt only adds more drama to an already sensational case. It's the kind of story that would dominate headlines for weeks, if not months, fueling endless speculation and debate.
What we see are just the people that are around us on the inside, rather than who we are on the outside.
What's even more fascinating is how these rumors have reshaped public perception. While some loyal fans continue to defend Diddy, insisting he's being unfairly targeted, others are starting to question everything they once believed about him. Because if even a fraction of these allegations holds weight, it paints the picture of a man willing to go to extreme lengths to avoid facing justice. Whether he's a victim of a flawed legal system or a mastermind trying to outmaneuver the law, one thing is undeniable: the narrative surrounding Sean Combs has changed forever, and as the case unfolds, the questions only multiply. What exactly did the FBI uncover? How deep does this alleged conspiracy run? And perhaps most crucially, how will Diddy's legal team counter these mounting accusations? For now, all we can do is watch and speculate. But one thing is clear: this story is far from over.
Some of them are, I think, are thinking like, wow, this is sort of a big opportunity, like, you know, to meet people they wouldn't otherwise get to meet, which is, it shocked me the first time I heard that. Right, it makes sense from their perspective, but like, boy, is that not how I think about prison.
And speaking of waiting, let's not forget where Diddy is spending his days while this storm unfolds: the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, a facility notorious for its harsh conditions. How does a man who once lived in sprawling mansions and sailed on luxury yachts adjust to life in what many describe as hell on earth? And could these grueling conditions be part of a larger plan to pressure him into cooperating? Now, picture this: Sean "Diddy" Combs, once a fixture in VIP lounges and lavish penthouses, now waking up to the cold, unrelenting hum of fluorescent lights in a cramped 8x10 cell. The contrast is staggering. The Metropolitan Detention Center is no luxury retreat, and for someone accustomed to the finer things in life, the reality of confinement is undeniably brutal. But what if these conditions aren't just the result of a flawed prison system? What if they're a deliberate strategy, an attempt to wear him down, to push him toward a deal? Whether intentional or not, the life Diddy now faces behind bars is a stark departure from his past, and it may just be the government's most powerful leverage.
That's where Diddy has been for months now, but last week he was taken to the hospital. According to reports from the New York Post, Diddy was transported from MDC in the cover of darkness at about 10 p.m. on January 30th. He was taken to a Brooklyn hospital for an MRI after reporting issues with his knee.
From the moment Diddy stepped into the Metropolitan Detention Center, his world shifted into something unrecognizable, a stark contrast to the life he had known for decades. Imagine waking up each morning on a rigid steel bed, the so-called mattress barely thicker than a folded newspaper. No silk sheets, no designer robes, just the unforgiving reality of standard issue prison attire. His cell, a claustrophobic 10-foot box, offers no luxury, no escape. Cold white walls surround him, a constant reminder of confinement. And here's a detail that lingers: there isn't even a pillow. Let that sink in. A man who once had the wealth to charter private islands now finds himself struggling to sleep without the simplest of comforts. It's a stark image, one that stays with you long after you picture it.